Yes, people. What's going on? It's Kitty G on EGTV, and we're back again with another video. And today I got a special guest, Tobs. It's been a long time coming, bro. We definitely needed to get you on the channel. It's been so long, but obviously it's in such a bad circumstances on your end. But obviously I'm excited, but you're probably not as excited. Probably better off getting you sometime before the game rather than after. Maybe, you know what? Maybe in your ground you probably beat us, but at our house, you know, it's always guaranteed 3 points.
Probably we usually beat you at our ground.
Yeah, I'm real, bro. At the end of the day, when it comes to the Emirates, we take 3 points off you. When we come to your ground, we tend to take 3 points off you. And at worst, either team gets a draw. That's it. It's never a thing where I've seen Arsenal take 3 points from Tottenham away, and I've seen Tottenham take 3 points from our ground. It doesn't really work that way usually.
Yeah, not in recent years. No, not in recent years. No, I think the last time you even got a point at our ground was the Wembley season under Poch, the 1-1 draw. Since then, it's just been straight L's. But like you said, that
under Unai Emery, Aubameyang missed the penalty in it.
Yeah, that's the game at Wembley. Yeah.
Was that Poch?
That was Poch. Yeah.
Damn, I felt like Poch got sacked ages ago.
No, he got sacked the season after.
Mad. But yeah, man. Tell me, man. You know, since it's the first time having you on, we always ask the silly question of how do you become a fan of that club? So I have to ask you. I recently seen that you have a brother who's also an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is he older or younger?
We're twins, so he's like 1 minute older.
Bro, you got to tell me the story. How did he become an Arsenal fan? How did you become a Tottenham fan? How is this possible?
We chose those teams from young, innit? Primary school days. So we always liked football, but I think for me, I like what I like. Do you get what I'm saying? And he liked what he liked as well. And he chose Arsenal. I chose Spurs. He'll tell you that it's because we lived in a Spurs heavy community. Primary school, most of the fans were Spurs fans. But yeah, like I've always liked the team. I've always liked the players. I like Jermaine Defoe. I like Robbie Keane. I like Ledley King. There were notable players that I really liked growing up as a Spurs fan. So yeah, it's always just been my thing.
Yeah, you know what? I always find that interesting. Like I get it that people pick different things, but you guys are arch rivals in the household now. You're arch rivals when it comes to football too.
Yeah,
that's funny. Yeah. Let's get into the game. I know you were probably at the game because I remember you went last year. I went last year.
I didn't go this year. I didn't go this year. No.
Probably better off because
you're right.
Making the trip there, you know what I mean? And a lot of people left early this time again, just like last time.
I don't think they did leave early, to be fair. I think last time the game was done at 34 minutes. This time the game was done at
60,
pretty much 62 minutes. Yeah.
So okay. Let's get into your thought process during the game though. For me, when I seen the lineup, I'm like advantage Arsenal because we played a strong lineup. Thomas Partey fit, Xhaka fit, and Zinchenko playing, meaning that we have more control over the midfield. And then I look over to you guys, and I kind of looked at it, and I was like, I don't know. Without Kulusevski, I just felt like you didn't have the same balance up front, and I felt like maybe you should have played another man in the midfield and gone with what you did against Leicester in the second half, and go with that 3-5-2. But yeah, what did you think?
I agree. I think that would have made it a tougher game for you guys. I think where we went with a 3-4-3, in addition to the fact that we basically just surrendered the midfield battle to you, like you mentioned, with Zinchenko coming in that inverted role, you basically had then Xhaka, Odegaard, Partey, and Zinchenko versus two in the midfield in Bentancur and Højbjerg, who actually did relatively well, but they were up against a strong tide. Like it's a lot of work to try and do between two midfielders. But yeah, no, I think Kulusevski, to be honest, I've tried not to mention his injury because I don't want it to sound like an excuse, and it's not an excuse. But one thing you said there is balance. And I think what Kulusevski brings to us on that right-hand side is balance. When we're out of possession, he can tuck into the midfield and give us that numerical that numerical equality that we need versus the opposition. And when he's out of possession, he's great in transition. And most importantly, when he gets on the ball, he can make things happen through dribbling or through passing. And I felt like in the first half, especially when we were breaking, some of those balls were dropping to Son. Majority dropped to Son, majority dropped to some dropped to Richarlison. If that's Kulusevski behind the ball, he's finding those attackers. If that's Harry Kane behind the ball, he's finding those attackers. So in that respect, the balance was definitely off. But I don't want to use that as an excuse because I've also seen Son, Kane, and Richarlison play extremely well in Premier League matches in absence of Kulusevski, but not regularly. But the 1 or 2 times we've seen it, it's also worked. So yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you what I thought about the first half. I thought the first half was you guys weren't going to ever score unless that penalty came. That penalty came at the right time for you guys, and then you went into halftime 1-1. But I felt like Arsenal, we were on top of you guys. We were controlling the game. And
the whole half?
I really didn't see many chances coming from a year and a half. I felt like anytime you guys did come close to our goal, we sniffed it out and we got rid of the danger. Gabriel made a clumsy challenge that led to the penalty, but 0-0 at halftime, I think was on the run of the game was not a fair result at halftime for us.
1-1. But okay, so that's your reflection of it. So
yeah,
I do think that you did dominate the majority of the half, in my opinion, the majority of the first half. But I don't agree that that our goal came out of nothing. Our goal came out of a break where, again, Son, if he makes if he makes the right pass, Richarlison is 1-on-1 with your goalkeeper. But the pass that he makes completely drags Richarlison out wide, which then leads him to cross the ball. You guys head it out. Granit Xhaka makes a meal out of it, and then Gabriel tackles Richarlison. So before that, even a free kick as well, that probably would have been against run of play. Richarlison had an opportunity that Ramsdale saved. And then after that, we didn't create chances per se, but we had various 2v1 and 3v2 situations where the final pass was missing. If we make that final pass, then the game is over. And when you look at the passes that are being made, it wasn't even like your players were intercepting the passes. Our passes were just terribly poor and overhit. There was one with Richarlison where Perisic is in on goal. If he makes the right pass and he just drags the pass wide. There's another one where Kane is making a run. He's got in between Gabriel and Zinchenko. All Son has to do is find him, and Harry Kane is working your goalkeeper 1-on-1. And the pass is wide. So we had like two or three situations like that after our equalizer where we didn't make enough of it. And I'm not saying this to say that we deserve to get something out of the game. I think you were rightful winners. Even before the red card, I felt you deserve to be in the league.
On the red card, though, people were trying to question the red card. I found that ridiculous. Do you agree?
I do think it's ridiculous as well. I think it's dumb. Instead of you should be questioning the player making such a stupid challenge. And when you look at the challenge as well, yeah, he's literally like, why can a player just go studs in and stamp on a man's ankle, the back of the outside of his ankle, and why should that be a yellow card offense? If that happened to Spurs, I would be asking for a red card every day of the week because it's a red card offense. You can't just stamp on someone's ankle, studs up. What do you expect is going to happen? And then our fans will say there's no consistency. Yes, you're right. There's no consistency, but it's not no consistency in the sense that that's a yellow card offense. It's no consistency in the sense that is a red card offense, and we've seen similar offenses that might even be worse, and they've not been given red cards. And there's been outrage when that's happened because they were red card offenses.
Yeah, I got the image right here. It's just if you're a football, I think I even watched your video. You're explaining it. You're like, if you do that, what you're doing. It's intentional. You were not even trying to go for the ball.
It's stupid. It's so stupid. Like, and that's why, like, I have no sympathy. Look at Martinelli's foot is planted on the floor, and he goes in, studs in on his ankle. Like, what the hell is that about? And it's so dumb. There's no danger there. So I'm not even thinking the referees is on the mad one there. I'm placing the blame firmly on the player, the Neanderthal that's fouling the guy in an area where there's no danger. There's literally no danger.
Talking about danger, did you feel like Tottenham caused any danger to Arsenal this game? Because I really don't. I get it that you're.
Yeah, I did in the first. As I said, from minute 30 to minute 43, 44, I think we did. And I think if you watch the game back, you'll see it. I think when we were picking up the ball and we were finally because from minute 1 to minute 30, I thought your pressing and your counter pressing was on point. We couldn't really get out, and we just kept gifting the ball to you, like Lloris sloppy kicks, the defense trying to go long, and then we just lose the ball and stuff like that. Like when you went 1-0 up, it was a screamer. You hadn't created any sort of clear chances, but you created enough openings to suggest that you deserved a 1-0 lead. But if you watch it again from minute 30 to minute 43, I promise you, you'll see a lot of, I say a lot, you'll see a fair share of situations that were uncomfortable for Arsenal. Watch it back. I'm telling you, you'll see a lot of situations that are comfortable for Arsenal where Son is breaking past Thomas Partey and we're literally 2v1. That happened on not once, not twice, not three, more than 3 occasions.
But do you feel like when you actually you've probably watched it back yourself if you're telling me to watch it back that many times, but from what I've watched the game, I watched match of the day, and I watched like a 2-minute highlight. So from what I've rewatched and from what I've seen, I felt like from the beginning of the game until say after we scored the goal, we had majority of the ball, and yes, we were winning the ball back high. You guys got into our final third, but every time you got into a final third, I agree with you. The ball was cut out. You could say that's based on sloppy play from your end, or
the ball wasn't cut out. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, though. Like,
no, but I get it. You're trying to say it's defensive. It might be offensive mistakes and passes, but at the same breath, you have to be there as a defender to intercept that ball.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. That's when there were interceptions to be made. But I'm talking about the specific situations where there was no interception made. We're not talking about Saliba mopping up, because he was excellent. Saliba was excellent. Ben White was quality. Didn't really get us. Perisic didn't get any change out of him. I'm not trying to take anything away from your defensive performance. I felt like you defended well for the most part, but there was a period in that first half categorically where you were uncomfortable. Thomas Partey was no longer able to sort of get to our players for the counter press as quickly as he could in the first 30 minutes. Odegaard wasn't able to get to the press as quickly as he could in the first 30 minutes. Zinchenko positionally was completely unaware of what was behind him. Several times Richarlison got through on that right hand side. Do you get what I'm saying? So Emerson Royale threw on that right-hand side as well. So yes, you were the better side. Yes, you dominated the game as a whole. But in the first half, I don't think you dominated that entire half. I don't think you did. I don't think that's true.
Okay, fair. Second half though, it was a completely different story. Obviously, the card and everything else. But I want to more or less go into the tactics. Someone here was saying, "Do you think Pochettino would have came so defensive? What was up with Conte? Do you think he kind of got found out? Because with you guys coming to our ground and trying to play on the counter, if you go a goal down, immediately you find yourself in a situation where you need to come forward, and you guys got you got the equalizer. But after you got the equalizer, once we scored in the second half, it kind of seemed like you guys were just trying to keep the score down. It wasn't the second the penalty. Then the whole situation happened with the card and the other goal, and the game was done. And 66 minutes into the game, you guys just basically said, you know what, it's done. Was that kind of cowardice from Conte? Because in my opinion, it is. It's very cowardice. He basically had the chance to chase the game. Instead, he tried to play it safe, continue to do what he was doing, and I feel like he got it completely wrong.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him a coward, but I do think, because the reason why he's gone with that approach is because he's gone with that approach in games similar to this, and we've got positive results.
No, but the quality is different.
What do you mean the quality is
different? The quality is different.
I'm not talking about Leicester. I'm talking about Man City and Liverpool. I'm not talking about Leicester.
Okay. If you're talking about last year, fine.
Yeah, I'm talking about Conte at Spurs in 2022. He's gone to grounds tougher than the Emirates, and he's been able to deploy that tactic, and we've been able to shut out the opposition, and we've also been able to create meaningful opportunities at goal. But I do think a lot of what you said is right and valid, in the sense where when we went to, because at half time, I don't think you could argue, as well as Arsenal played, I don't think you could argue against Conte having that approach, because it somewhat worked. It somewhat worked to a certain extent. In the second half, when Arsenal got their second win and got the second goal, again, crazy howler from Lloris, brazy howler, but whatever.
He was the difference
Arsenal,
between Arsenal winning and Ramsdale saving the first half. The difference, the two goalkeepers were the difference, but easily. Because
but yeah. So the point I'm making is, like in the second half, you're right. Like we didn't come out at 2-1 down. We should have come out. Like at that point, the game is you're now you are firmly chasing the game. It's not the first half anymore where you
is
can,
it a mental thing?
huh?
Is it a mental thing?
No, I don't think it is a mental thing. I think he's quite, one, he can be quite stubborn, and two, he's too headstrong in his principles and his beliefs, because they've got him so much success, and it's even got him some small amount of joy at Spurs already. But I think at that point in time, with the some of the players that we had on the bench, and with the opposition, with us trading, you have to sort of do something different. Come out of a low block, try and employ a mid block, try and do something to put Arsenal on edge. Put more pressure on Arsenal and they'll crumble. I remember there was a 50-50 that Son and Odegaard were chasing. And I knew every day of the week, Son was going to win that 50-50 because Odegaard doesn't want it in those situations. And I feel like in the second half, we didn't do enough to put enough pressure on Arsenal or stop the ebb and flow of the game before the red card. And I felt like that's where he's let himself down in this game. In those situations where you haven't scored the first goal and where you're trading, you have to switch it up. You have to change the shape. You have to change the approach. You have to do something to get us back into the game, because sitting deep is not going to work. It's not going to work.
Okay.
It was clear to see that the sitting deep approach was not going to work for the entirety of the 90 minutes in this game.
I'll say this: all your joy went from the opening goal until halftime. From the opening goal to halftime, that's the best I've seen from Tottenham in this game. The rest
But
of
you
the
just said we
game,
didn't do anything in the game, and I
no,
said
no,
that's it. I literally said to you, that's it.
no. I agree with you based on the fact that you guys were putting pressure on us, and that's how you got the penalty in the first place, right? But when at the end of the day, when you see the result and you look back and you say to yourself, you know what? In what moments were Tottenham even threatening after halftime? That's where I'm like, that's where I say you guys got outclassed. Because in the second half, what did Conte try to do to change the game?
I agree. He didn't do enough to change the game before the red card. He didn't do enough to change the game. But I do also think that the red card also hindered any potential plan he had to change the game, because at that point it's 62 minutes. We know that he's someone who's notoriously slow at making subs, but who's to say that he wouldn't have made subs in 65, 67, 68 minutes? I do think that the red card completely killed the game as a contest. We're already losing anyway, and the better side were in the lead. Once the red card happened, the game was done as a contest. There was one, I think that the only thing we did in the second half of real note was one opening when Harry Kane got on the ball, the only attacker of the three who could actually find passes, and he played a fantastic pass to Romero. Again, another 2v1 situation. Romero bearing down on goal. It's literally the easiest pass in the world into Son for a tap-in, and he completely messed it up. And I think your defender cleared it out. Saliba was excellent in that game as well. I think there was another moment on the counter-attack where he covered. I think he was the last man. He covered the counter-attack as well.
Did you see what he did to Oliver Skip?
Yeah. He nutsed him. Yeah, fair enough. I think Skip came on and did okay. Like, I don't really know what more he could at that point in time. It's damage limitation. Like,
Can you tell me why people hype this guy up? Because before the game, people were telling me Oliver Skip is going to be a future captain of your club.
Who was telling you that?
Irish Tottenham fan.
Oh, Irish, like you or something like that.
Tottenham Hotspur.
Irish Hotspur. Listen, I like Skip. You know, Skip has the right personality to be like a future leader in our club. Like, I think he's a decent player. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's anything more than that at the moment, but I think he has the potential to be a really good player for Spurs. I think rival fans tend to overlook what he brings to Spurs because they don't watch him week in, week out, and they see that he's not as flavoursome as some of your midfielders. He's not as teched out, or he ain't got a long range strike on him. But the work that he does for Spurs goes unnoticed, and I think he was up until his injury, he was one of our best performers in a poor period for us last season. He was one of our best performers, and he quickly became a trusted player of Conte.
I know you're gonna have to go soon, but I just want to ask you a quick question about Arsenal and Tottenham, and like, what do you think about this season? Because I know it's too early to predict, but do you feel like this is now time for Tottenham to bounce back, and you guys gonna bounce back comfortably, or do you think this will have some effect going into the Brighton game and going into the Champions League game?
I think we got to bounce back. We got to bounce back. We're playing a very, very dangerous opponent in the sense where you don't really know what you're going to get from Frankfurt. Like we could go there and turn them over, but we could also go there and lose. Like they're just a very, very weird side. What worries me the most is Brighton. I think Brighton right now they're banging form and they're playing a lot of good stuff. And where we're playing midweek and they have an extra couple of days rest on us, that's going to be a difficult game. And if we play like we did against Arsenal, we're going to lose. So we need to try and build up some sort of confidence and get ourselves back to winning ways. And the only way to do that is to get a positive result tomorrow against Frankfurt.
And yeah, let me try to get something nice for you to say about Arsenal. Let's be honest, we're top of the league. We're doing well. We got players that are looking really scary in Willam Saliba, Thomas Partey, Xhaka performing outstandingly well. We got our attack firing. Everything's looking good on our end. But like, what do you think we could do? Because I know I don't know if you have us in your top four. I don't know if you've changed your predictions from preseason or what. But I just want to know, where do you think we can go from here?
I always thought the top third to fifth would be close. Like I said that on the Big Six. Like in the end, I went with Chelsea to edge fourth. But now, if I'm being honest, I don't really have like I'm only going off Chelsea just based on paper. Like when I'm watching the sides play and I'm deep in what I feel, I don't really believe that Chelsea are a better side than Arsenal right now. And to be honest, Arsenal look and are playing better than Spurs. I'm still going to back Spurs to try and nick third, but I think right now, I think the North London clubs will get Champions League football, and Chelsea will miss out.
Yeah, and is Lloris done? Because I'm a French fan, and I'm watching him, and I'm saying to myself, this guy should not be starting for France.
He's not done, but he's not done. Lloris has been one of our best players this season, but the problem with Lloris is, for someone who's an error-prone goalkeeper, it seems like he saves his errors exclusively for some of these high-profile matches. There was a crazy stat where it said something like he's made like 11 errors in like, I think it's like maybe like 20 or 30 big six matches. And then they compared that to like 10. The only other errors he's made was like 10 errors in like maybe like 100 and something games versus the rest. So there's definitely something there about Lloris saving like some of these crazy howlers for these big matches, but I don't think he's finished yet. I do think though that Spurs need to plan for life after Lloris, because he's not getting any younger and he's not exactly going to get any better. He's like 35, 36. The only way for him is down. So we want to get a transition in before Lloris is a complete liability, because I don't think he's a complete liability right now.
I'm just gonna end it off here, bro, because I'm gonna do the rest, but you're gonna have to go soon. Just let me know whenever you gotta jump out. But last question.
Probably in the next 2 minutes.
No worries. Last question then. What do you think about I'm gonna ask you an Arsenal question, because I was gonna ask you about Bissouma and these guys, but you guys can go watch his video. He's already said that. I'm pretty sure you've already said numerous times you want Bissouma getting more game time.
Yeah, definitely.
And you definitely said you don't want to see Emerson Royale playing again.
Yep. He's cracked.
So we don't need to worry about that. What do you think about Saliba? Potentially could get a new contract for Arsenal. Conversations floating around that he could be getting a new contract. How good do you think this guy is? And
mate, he looks quality. I'll be real. He looks quality. Like, Arsenal fans, your fan base, they're quite overreact. They're quite reactionary. Like they normally tend to overgas the thing. But I must say, 8 games in, he looks lig. Like he looks imperious.
He looks apart.
So yeah, like he's taken to the lead like a duck to water. Like it almost looks a bit too easy for him, which is why he looks like really, really good. But let's see how the season progresses. So, but for now, it's looking like a ridiculous prospect for Arsenal.
There you go. But yeah, big up Tobs, man. Thank you for coming on, man. Absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm still the video is not done, guys. I'm still gonna talk about Saka's new contract and Granit Xhaka getting player of the month. But yeah, Tobs, thank you for jumping on, bro. Really do appreciate it.
No problem.
You guys can go check him out. Link is in the description, in the title for his channel, and you can catch him on the Big Six later today. I'm
Cheers,
out.
bro. Safe, man.
Big up to Tobs for coming on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know whatever comments you guys want to throw in the chat. First things first, we got to talk about this Willam Saliba news. Let me get it up on the screen. So Willam Saliba Willam Saliba's comments on if he can see his future at Arsenal and what will happen with his new contract. We will see. They talk a little bit and we will see. That's what Willam Saliba had to say, hinting that his new contract is on the cards and will be coming very, very soon. So Willam Saliba's new contract is on its way. Hopefully the contract talks have started and we will see where we go from here. I am very hopeful that Arsenal can get this done as soon as possible. I'm very hopeful that Arsenal will get this contract sorted out very soon. And I'm very hopeful that we will no longer have to wait for this ongoing situation of constantly having to wait to find out what's going on with this contract, because it's stressing me out and it's probably stressing all of you guys out that we keep hearing things about Saliba's future. I just want to see him sign the contract. I want to see this contract sorted. I want to see everything already in and ready to go. And I want to be excited for the new year, not having to stress about Willam Saliba's contract. Or I don't want to either. I don't want to stress about Saka's contract either, boys, because there's news about Saka's contract. Let me give you that news. Shout out to the 30 people in the chat right now. Do me a favor, hit that like button. We're currently on, am I mistaken? Are we only on 15 likes? You guys can do much better than that. Oh, we're on 29 likes. Hit that like button right now, people. But yeah, let's just go through some of the news. So we have the first news. Bukayo Saka personally invested in an executive box at Arsenal. Okay, he's personally invested in an executive box at Arsenal, in the sense that he will now be he's financially invested in staying long term at the club. This is a great news for us, because that now means him having a box could mean that he might stay longer. I know other players have had boxes in the past, but there's growing confidence. There is confidence from Arsenal that a deal for Bukayo Saka extending his contract in less than 3 to 4 years could be striked, and which would guarantee him close to 200K per week. Look at that, boys and girls. 200K per week for Bukayo Saka. 200K per week. I wouldn't be surprised if we gave him that much, because we need to hold on to him. He's an important part to the team, and we really need to hold on to Bukayo Saka. We cannot afford to lose him. If we give him 200K, he's worth every penny. He's worth every penny, in my opinion. He's worth every penny. So we got to make sure we tie him down and get him onto that new contract as soon as possible. Also, in other news, there's news about the summer. I mean, the January window. Arsenal intend to spend again in January on a new central midfielder on radar. This is great news. This just means we're going to strengthen in January. I want us to strengthen in January. We all want us to strengthen in January. Who would be your ideal target in January? Let me know. Let me know who would be your ideal target in January, because if the reports are true that we're going to be spending in January, that could mean we could get Danilo. That could mean we can get Douglas Luiz. That could mean we can get a lot of things. But Arsenal must cash in on a dream, toe down their young players. To tie down their young players. Yeah, we got to tie down Willam Saliba. We got to tie down Saka. But these guys did good against Tottenham in that derby. Great. Rio Ferdinand saying Saliba's performance versus Tottenham. What impressed me was his composure. How many times he came out with the ball when he was under pressure. How calm he showed beyond his years. Already a little bit of a fan favorite. Willam Saliba is definitely a fan favorite, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, the main thing that came out of today's conversation is that the Arsenal are definitely going to be spending money in January. I can't wait for them to spend money. Sean in the chat saying, Egal, Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Everywhere they go. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. Yes, they do, my friend. Yes, they do. And yeah, I just want to get on to Ramsdale's comments before we finish off the show. There's two more topics that I wanted to discuss. I don't know if you guys seen Ramsdale's comments. Of course, Granit Xhaka won Player of the Month. We're gonna get onto that in a second also. But let me just find Ramsdale's comments, because Ramsdale's comments were important. Ramsdale made some comments about Arsenal and how we're changing a little bit. And you know what? It's not just a little bit. It's more than just words at this point. It's something that makes you open up your eyes and just realize that there's something special going on at the Emirates right now. With the words that he came out with, he's saying that we're fighting, that we're fighting for more than just what happened over the last couple of days. We're looking to improve on what we've done from last season. Last season, we ended the season quite poorly, right? But here we go. Here we go. Let me show you what he said. Ramsdale on being at the top of the table, right? Let me show you guys what I'm about to show you. Hit that like button while you're here, people. And if you're watching on the playback, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're here for the first time. Aaron Ramsdale on on Arsenal being at the top of the table. You lot are thinking about it. We are just going every game with a smile on our faces, trying to win. When we win, we celebrate. If we don't, then we evaluate it and go again. That's what he was saying to Evening Standard. He was talking about the journey, long may it continue. And then he was talking about Willam Saliba's comments. He was talking about the World Cup. But this was the thing that I found very much. We have this fire burning inside us because of what happened at the end of last season. When I seen that comment right there, that made me think these guys are on a mission. These guys are on a mission. They realize the mistakes and the issues the mistakes they made last season, and they want to rectify those mistakes. These are the kind of things that I want to see from our players. These are the kind of things that open my eyes up and say, you know what, they get it. And I hope that they continue to work. I hope they continue to put in the work, and that will make me happy. Finally, Granit Xhaka remontada, people. Granit Xhaka remontada. This is the Granit Xhaka redemption arc. Yes, this is the Granit Xhaka redemption arc, ladies and gentlemen. Granit Xhaka redemption. He is literally gone from being one of the most hated players in this team to now being one of the more revered and loved players within the squad. He has won Player of the Month with a large margin. Let me just show you how big the margin was in which he won Player of the Month. He won Player of the Month with an 83% vote. That is a large vote. How many times has Granit Xhaka won Player of the Month in his 7 years at Arsenal? 2 times. Those 2 times were in the last 3 years. In the last 7 years, he's won it 2 times, and in the last 4 months, he's won it twice. So it just goes to show you how big his remontada has been and how quickly he's gotten back into the fans' light, back into being loved by the fans. It's absolutely beautiful to see. But yeah, I'm gonna end this here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Shout out Tappin Tobs for coming on every single time. The link is in the title of the video for him. And hopefully you guys are back. We'll be back tomorrow with a longer video. And you guys enjoy this video and have yourselves a wonderful day. I'm out, people. Peace. And we're out.